Welcome back, everyone. It is week 4 of our remote learning, and today's lesson, we are starting a new unit, which is reproduction. And today's lesson is about meiosis and the male reproductive system. And before we start, we are going to do our mindful minute. So go ahead and find yourself in a comfortable seat with a mindful body, with your head, neck, and spine aligned. And I invite you guys to close your eyes, or you can watch the animation on the screen. And we'll take deep breaths together for 1 minute. So everybody get ready and inhale through your nose and exhale. Inhale through your nose and exhale through your nose. Nice deep breath in and deep breath out. Deep breath in, deep breath out. We're halfway there. Inhale through your nose and exhale, pushing out carbon dioxide. Breathing in energizing oxygen. And exhale, pushing the air out. Last one. Deep breath in. And exhale. Allow your breathing to return to normal. And when you're ready, you can slowly open your eyes. All right, so today's learning target is I can explain meiosis and label the parts of the male reproductive system. You can pause the video now so that you can write down the learning target. So meiosis is a type of cell division that creates sperm and egg cells, which are distinct or different from body cells. So body cells would be anything that's in your hair, skin, any part of your body, excluding sperm and egg cells. So this is a special type of cell division. So for our do now, we're going to watch a quick video from Brain Pop called Where Do Babies Come From? And with this video, you have some check for understanding questions in your Google form. So here are our good friends, Tim and Moby. And here we go.
Dear Tim and Moby, where do babies really come from? I'm confused. Drew. Oh, thanks a lot, Moby. All right, I guess we'll start with eggs. All humans begin life as a single fertilized egg. Women have egg cells in their ovaries. Ovaries are part of the female reproductive system. These eggs are released about once a month, usually a couple of weeks before a woman has her period. Sperm cells are released from the penis during sexual intercourse. The penis and testicles are the male reproductive organs. A woman gets pregnant when one of her egg cells is fertilized by a male sperm cell. That means that the egg cell and sperm cell have joined together to make a whole new cell. What happens next is kind of strange. The fertilized egg divides into 2 cells, then 4 cells, then 8, and so on. It becomes a little cluster. This cluster travels through the woman's reproductive system. It passes through the fallopian tubes into a chamber called the uterus. This cluster of cells plants itself in the lining of the uterus. The outer layer of cells forms a covering called the placenta, and the inner layer becomes the embryo. This is where the waiting starts. After 8 weeks, the embryo begins to grow organs. Now it's called a fetus. Somewhere around 3 months of pregnancy, the fetus will be big enough that a mother's tummy starts to stick out. But it takes about 9 months of growth for that fetus to be ready to leave the mother's body. During these 9 months, the fetus floats around in a protective housing called the amniotic sac and lives off of nutrients from the mother's body. The umbilical cord connects the fetus to the placenta that we talked about earlier. Nutrients travel from the mother to the fetus through this cord. When the baby is finally born, the umbilical cord will be cut so the baby can live on its own. Your belly button is what's left of your umbilical cord. What are you talking about? Robots can't give birth. Oh, Cassie and Rita have been getting lots of questions about pregnancy. They asked me to mention that you can't generally get pregnant without having sexual intercourse. There's no chance of becoming pregnant from a swimming pool or by kissing or whatever. Phew. Huh? Is that a baby? Oh, cute.
Surprise! It's toast. Okay, so in the video, it does a brief overview of sexual reproduction and how a baby is born and grows. And today we're going to talk about how those sperm and egg cells are made to carry out sexual reproduction. So, sexual reproduction is when two parents produce genetically different offspring. That means the offspring is different from the parents. And if there are more than one offspring, let's say they are siblings, those two siblings are going to be genetically different from each other as well, as you can see in this picture over here on the left. And then in this picture on the right, it actually is a high powered microscope view of when a sperm meets an egg. So I'm going to zoom in. Oh, actually, pause the video here so you can write down the definition. And so here's our zoomed in picture of our sperm and egg meeting. There's oftentimes a number of sperm that actually meet an egg. It's not just one. And we're going to see why there are more sperm than egg throughout today's lesson and the series of lessons. So, sexual reproduction starts with meiosis. There are two types of cell divisions, meiosis and mitosis. Mitosis is different. We're not going to talk about that today, and that's to produce body cells. Meiosis is to produce sex cells. So we'll watch part of this Amoeba Sisters video, which will briefly explain meiosis.
Have you ever wondered how two siblings can have the same mom and dad and still look so different? Well, today we're going to talk about a process that makes that possible, a process called meiosis, not to be confused with mitosis, which sounds unfortunately similar. Mitosis makes identical body cells, like your skin cells and stomach cells. Recall from our mitosis clip that since it makes identical body cells, mitosis is important for growth and for repair of damage, or to replace worn out cells. But not meiosis. Meiosis is a process that contributes to genetic variety. Meiosis also doesn't make body cells, it makes sperm and egg cells, otherwise known as gametes, the fancier word. You might recall that humans have 46 chromosomes. That's how many chromosomes most body cells in your body have. But there are some human cells that don't have 46 chromosomes. Human sperm cells and egg cells have 23 chromosomes. Why the number difference? Well, if a sperm cell has 23 chromosomes and an egg cell has 23 chromosomes, when they come together, that makes 46 chromosomes. That will allow a newly formed fertilized egg to develop into a human. Meiosis is what we call a reduction division because you have a starting cell that has 46 chromosomes, and your ending cell, the sperm and egg cells, have only 23 chromosomes.
Okay, so in meiosis, some important things to know is the resulting cells have only 23 chromosomes because when 23 is added to 23, when sperm and egg meet, that gives us 46, which is what all of our cells have 46 chromosomes. All right, sexual reproduction starts with meiosis. So, meiosis is a cell division that produces sex cells, also known as gametes. And in males, this is the sperm, and in females, this is the eggs. And meiosis creates genetically different cells that have 23 chromosomes. And because these cells are genetically different from each other, it causes genetic variation in populations. So, just like how I said back here with this picture on the left, if you have siblings, you actually look different from your siblings. You're not identical to them unless you are an identical twin. And that's because meiosis produces genetically different cells each time. So, looking at this diagram on the right, during meiosis, if you follow the cell dividing, it divides and ends up with four cells, and each of these cells are different from each other. You can tell by the colors, and they're different from the original starting cell. So if this is a male, for example, there would be four different sperm cells. If this is a female, there would be four different egg cells produced at the end of meiosis. Pause the video now so you can write down this definition. Okay, let's check our understanding. Lobsters are crustaceans related to crayfish, crabs, and shrimp. Most lobsters are a reddish brown color, but on rare occasions they can be orange, blue, or even multicolored. These color differences can be caused by 1. Genetic variations, 2. Different numbers of offspring, 3. Overpopulation and excessive resources, and 4. The instability of the ecosystem. So, this question is talking about how these lobsters are multicolored in different colors. And the question's asking, what are these caused by? So, what are the different colors caused by? Let's cross out which ones don't make sense. So, would their different colors be caused by instability of the ecosystem? No. Could it be caused by overpopulation? No, that wouldn't necessarily cause them to change colors. So it's either genetic variation or different numbers of offspring. What do you think? Genetic variation is what causes the differences because if we flip back, we remember that each of our cells is different. So if a lobster has 4 offspring, each of those offspring could be different colors from each other. All right, now we're going to watch another brain pop video that goes over the parts of the male reproductive system. Okay, so in the video, it mentioned how many sperm are made per day. And they said several million. So if we flip back to this picture here, this is why there are so many sperm that are trying to enter the egg. Actually, it's very difficult for the sperm to enter the egg. We're going to see this later when we talk about fetal development, but it's actually quite difficult for them to get in the egg. So, the more sperm that there are, the better chances of fertilization or pregnancy. Okay, so different parts of the male reproductive system. Some of them were not covered in the video. We're going to start with A, which is the bladder that holds urine. And urine will leave the male's body through structure C, the urethra, which travels through D, the penis. And E is super important. These are the the glands that make sperm. And they also make a male hormone called testosterone. And when the sperm leaves the male's body, it's going to travel through B, the vas deferens. And we're just going to take one slide of notes for this. So for the male reproductive system, we are going to write down that Testicles are the gland that produces male sperm, which are the male gametes or sex cells, and it also produces the hormone testosterone. So, actually, both males and females produce testosterone. Males produce more testosterone, and this is a hormone that helps to regulate bone mass, muscle mass. It regulates the production of sperm, and it gives a lot of the male features that we're familiar with in men. There can be some disorders that cause low testosterone production in men, which could lead to hair loss. It could lead to weight gain, and it could lead to low energy levels. All right, so that's what we have for today. You are going to head on over to your Google form and answer the check for understanding questions. And we will see you later this week for lesson 2.